Welcome to the deep dive. Okay, let's jump right in. We're looking at President Trump's big 4-day trip to the Middle East.
His first foreign trip since returning to office, kicking off in Saudi Arabia May 13th.
Exactly. And our focus today is really unpacking this huge economic agenda we're hearing about.
And how it all ties together, with the politics, the security stuff. It's complicated.
Definitely. We're piecing this together from recent reports. So the goal is to figure out the main takeaways from this, well, pretty high stakes visit. What's the first thing that jumps out?
I think it has to be the money. The sheer scale of it.
Right.
You've got Saudi Arabia reportedly pledging, $600 billion over 4 years?
$600 billion?
And then the UAE, even bigger numbers, talking $1.4 trillion, though that's spread over the next decade.
Wow. Okay, trillion with a T. But beyond just the headline figures, what's the strategy? I mean, why these massive commitments?
Well, it looks like the core idea is to really cement those U.S. Gulf relationships through economic interdependence.
So tying the economies closer together.
Precisely. And the report suggests the money's aimed at specific U.S. industries. We're talking tech, AI, cyber, that sort of thing. Energy, too, both the old stuff and renewables, and, importantly, defense tech.
And the delegation itself speaks volumes, doesn't it? Having people like Elon Musk, Sam Altman, Jensen Huang along for the ride.
Absolutely. That screams focus on, high-tech, cutting-edge innovation and collaboration. It's not just about buying things. It's about building things together, perhaps.
Okay, so economics is huge. But it's not just economics, right? There's this proposed $100 billion arms package for Saudi Arabia. That's a significant piece of this.
It really is. And it brings up the whole regional power balance question.
How so? What's the rationale being given?
The thinking, at least as presented, is about boosting Saudi defenses, specifically, as a counterweight to Iran in the region.
And we're not talking small stuff here.
No, definitely not. Advanced missile systems, sophisticated defense technologies. It's about seriously upgrading their security posture.
And then, adding another layer, reports mention a potential civil nuclear deal with the Saudis, including uranium enrichment, but under U.S. supervision.
Yes, and that's fascinating because it connects directly to Saudi Arabia's own long-term economic plan, Vision 2030.
Their plan to move beyond oil.
Exactly. They see nuclear power as part of their future energy mix. But the key part, the really crucial bit, is that U.S. oversight on any enrichment.
That's the non-negotiable part for Washington, presumably, to prevent proliferation concerns.
You'd have to assume so. It's about ensuring it stays peaceful.
Okay, so economics, security, they're clearly tangled up. What about the diplomacy? Normalizing relations between Saudi Arabia and Israel is reportedly still on the table.
It is, but, and this is a big but, it comes with conditions.
Saudi conditions.
Yes. They've apparently made it clear that any real progress there depends on, first, a ceasefire in Gaza, and second, a concrete path towards a Palestinian state.
So those long-standing political issues are still front center. They haven't gone away.
Not at all. It shows you can't just separate the economics from the deep-seated political realities of the region. It's all connected.
And speaking of regional dynamics, what about Iran? We're hearing about continued maximum pressure.
Right. Sanctions, military presence. That campaign seems ongoing.
But at the same time, reports suggest direct talks with Iran over the nuclear program have started. How does that work?
It seems like a dual strategy, perhaps. Using the pressure, the sanctions, maybe as leverage in those direct negotiations.
Trying to force a better deal, maybe?
That could be the calculation. It's a very complex balancing act, applying pressure while also holding out the possibility of a diplomatic solution.
Okay, so let's try and distill this. For you listening, what are the big takeaways here?
Well, first, just the incredible size of these economic deals. They could genuinely shift things in tech, energy, defense globally.
Okay, what else?
Second, you have to see how finely balanced everything is. It's this constant interplay between the economic carrots, the security fears, and these really difficult, long-standing political problems.
Nothing happens in a vacuum.
Exactly, which is the third point.
Yeah.
It's all interconnected. Economic wins depend on navigating the diplomatic minefield and keeping things stable.
And finally,
keep an eye on the arms deals and that potential nuclear agreement. Those could really reshape the power dynamics across the Middle East for years to come.
right, so we've touched on the massive investments, the security angles, the arms deals, the nuclear question, and the really tricky diplomatic path, especially regarding Israel, Palestine, and Iran. It's a lot.
It certainly is.
So here's a final thought for you to consider. With all these different threads, the economic ambition, the security needs, the diplomatic roadblocks, What single element do you think will be the absolute key, the linchpin that decides if this whole venture succeeds or fails in the long run? And maybe, what are the unexpected ripples we might see spreading from all this activity?
Lots to think about there.
Definitely. Thanks for joining us for this deep dive today.